I'm Steve Kurian, the captain of the fishing vessel Ava Jane. We're commercial fishermen out of Bristol Bay, Alaska. We harvest wild Alaskan sockeye each summer. My wife Jen and I own Pride of Bristol Bay, which brings back the wild Alaskan salmon we harvest each summer to people throughout the lower 48. We fish in Bristol Bay, Alaska for wild sockeye because it is the most sustainable salmon run left on the planet. And it aligns with our values and missions. We're able to go up there each year, harvest just the right amount of salmon, and the next year what we have left returns, and we're able to do it year in and year out. The biologists do an amazing job of managing the resource, and how they do that is they allow a certain amount of fish up the river each year for escapement to reproduce and guarantee that we'll have the continuing stocks year in and year out. This year was an amazing year in Bristol Bay. We had 63 million fish return, which is the highest on record since 1954 when they started actually counting salmon return each year. We started working with slow foods in the Tetons about 5 years ago, and I think our values line up with quality of food, harvested by local small boat fisheries, and supporting things that go on in the community. We're in my kitchen today cooking some wild Alaskan sockeye. The recipe that we're going to be making is one of my favorites. It's basil tomato. This time of year, tomatoes are fresh on the vine. We're just back from fishing, so always craving tomatoes, one of my favorite vegetables. For the tomato basil salmon recipe that we're making today, you're going to need the following ingredients: 2 cloves of garlic, kosher salt, extra virgin olive oil, 1 fillet of wild Alaskan sockeye salmon, some fresh basil, 2 medium heirloom tomatoes, and some freshly ground black pepper. All right, so we've got our freshly thawed wild Alaskan sockeye salmon fillet. Absolutely beautiful. We just harvested them last month, so super excited to have that. And I'm going to start with olive oil. I like to just drizzle my olive oil on the fillet, and then use my fingers and just kind of massage it around to make sure I got a good covering. And that does that. And then I'll take some salt, and I use about half my salt on the fillet just to salt the salmon. Save the other half for on top of the tomatoes. A little black pepper. I'm a black pepper fan, so nice coarse ground black pepper. From there, we will take the garlic. I like to just mince my own. It's a little. So just good press right on top, and then you can use your fingers again to spread it out. 2 cloves will do you. Just depends how much you like garlic. And just make sure you get it kind of evenly distributed across the fillet. That looks beautiful the way it is. Next, we're going to take this fresh basil that we have and just peel off a bunch of leaves. And then we'll just lightly tear it. I don't typically chop mine, probably because I don't want to dirty a knife. And I like it in bigger chunks. Love the smell of garlic and basil together. So then you just take your fresh basil, kind of just, again, lay it on here, just evenly. Put on as much as you'd like. This time of year is just great with all these fresh herbs. The garlic Jen actually grew in our garden, so that's kind of can't get much more local than that. All right, once you have enough basil on there, then we go to the heirloom tomato, and one nice sized tomato will probably do this fillet. We've got a new knife here that was sent from New West Knife Works, and this is their 7-inch fillet knife, and I know it's for filleting fish, but since the fillet already came filleted, we're going to use it because I really want to test it out on this tomato. And from there, we'll be taking it to Bristol Bay to be used to fillet sockeye on the boat, and really excited about that. And boy, she is sharp. And about 4 slices will do it. And then I just take those slices and I just kind of lay them on top, just like that. One of the things that I really like about this recipe is the tomatoes actually add a layer of moisture and a barrier from overcooking. So it's really makes the fillet a lot more moist than kind of just baking it in the oven on its own. All right, once you have your tomatoes on, then again, we'll just add a little more salt. And a little more black pepper. And easy as that, we're now ready to go in the oven. So now that we've got it prepared, you can cook it 2 ways. You can either place it in the oven at 350 for 15 to 20 minutes until it lightly flakes, or you can put it on the grill and it'll take about 10 to 12 minutes. Here's how I like to thaw my fillets out. You just drop them in the sink, cold tap water, fill it up so it maybe gets an inch over top, and 20 to 30 minutes, you've got a completely thawed fillet ready to go. All right, so the timer just went off and salmon looks like, it looks beautiful. So that was just over 15 minutes in the oven, and that is the finished product. What I like to do is just in the middle of the fillet, you just lift up one of the tomatoes and you kind of just pry it apart. You can see that that flakes, even though it's like medium rare. That is perfect. All right, now that it's completed, we're gonna plate it. I just like to section it off between the tomatoes. You can take your knife, we eat it with the skin on, so you can just scoop right underneath that. Serve it up. We'll typically have it with some pasta or a fresh salad or some nice vegetables out of the garden. Sure looks beautiful. Thanks for cooking with me today, and we want to thank Scott Steen and his team at Slow Foods in the Tetons for all the great work they do, and the New West Knife Works for this fabulous knife that we got and looking forward to using. If you're interested in getting some, you can go to prideofbristolbay.com. We donate 5% back to Slow Foods in the Tetons for all Buying Club purchases. If you order through the Buying Club, you will pick up at the Farm to Fork Festival on October 2nd. All orders must be in by August 31st. You can also support Slow Foods in the Tetons by donating through oldbills.org campaign. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the Tetons.